Welcome everyone, day 5 on the Getaway canning stock route. We're travelling in Western Australia, north from Bililuna, south to Wiluna. That's the way the original stock route drives went, north to south. They were bringing those cattle down to market. Wow, today we're going to be challenged. More sand dunes, corrugations are certainly starting to ramp up a bit. We're going to see more graves, we're going to hear about more murders. This place is amazing. So, let's go. Here we are at Wajapani, well 38. Quite impressive, Gorge.
Yeah.
So they used explosives here?
Yep. Yes, they did.
This was blown up, dug out, or both, not quite sure, to create a holding capacity of 30,000 gallons. Meanwhile, we had a bit of an explore around the place and we found some etchings along the rock face. Ben Taylor, 1969 it looks to me.
Is it?
According to Mr. Canning Stock Route, that's Phil Bianchi, Ben Taylor was a horse tailor, whatever that is. He accompanied Lanigan down here in 1939 and went on to become quite a well-known Kimberley identity. That says Burke, but we're not sure what the first letters are.
Look at this rock.
Aha, Phil said Tom Burke, he was a camel man on the 1905-1906 survey team.
True roots there.
When I was in the Kimberley, one of the Aboriginal tour guides, also an elder, showed me very similar etchings in the rock face and said that was a spear sharpening station. Not sure what it is, but open and receptive. If anyone knows, please put it in the comments. Let us know. We're checking out a few scats here. We're getting very scientific. You can see how high the water comes from all the debris up against the tree trunk. Here we are at Lipuru, well 37. Jeremy's just GoProing there, getting a close-up. Is there water in it, Jeremy?
Yeah, there's water there.
Wow.
There are a couple of murders around this area. There is Shoesmith, Thompson and a native boy that were murdered and they found their bodies nearby. And there was also another murder about 56 kilometres out, a guy called Jock McClernand. You know, he kind of got beaten to death by some natives, and a couple of other people in his group, you know, got hit around a bit as well. That was in 1922.
We're going to look at the graves. Shoesmith and Thompson are buried on the left together. Chinaman, the Aboriginal drover, he's buried on the right on his own. I do hope he is in his own country here, because Aboriginal people believe that you need to be in your own country. Your body needs to be buried there or your spirits will never rest. Considering that we're travelling through desert country, we were amazed at the amount of water out there. I asked Graham, one of my Getaway travel mates, and also a geologist, what he made of it.
Yeah, just surprised.
Yeah.
The water's not too far down in this sand country, and makes you wonder how much water there is generally through the country.
More than we would have thought, Graham.
Yeah. Obviously the trees that we see in the interdune corridors have got to be getting their water from somewhere. So they're tapping down into the water table, I'd say.
Here we are at well 36, Kill.
Yeah, this well was done up in 1970 by Mark de Graaf, and it's got user-friendly water. Just make sure you put the cover back over it after you've used it to make sure you keep the wildlife out. About 950 gallons per hour you can get out of there. It's a good little spot.
Erica's studying to be a hydraulics engineer. Lots of birds around again, Denise.
Yeah.
As usual, bit of excitement here. Leslie stepped in and she fell straight through. So, well 36 is due for repairs, Leslie. Bobby decided that we should make sure that there's a stick or some sort of escape route for animals that fall in these wells. That's so they don't drown and pollute the water. Well, of course we tried to do something, but that worked out to be a bit of a disaster. And then it fell in when we tried to shift it. Not having much joy. The mystery of the two well names at each well continues. I've asked the traditional owners and they're not sure either. They can't give me any definitive answer. All they can come up with is that there were kind of overlaps in the country, so that one group would come in at one time and use this area and they had a name for it. Another group would come at another time and they had a different name for it. So it may have been that, we're not sure. Mr. Phil Bianchi advises that there was an interesting naming process followed by canning, and I'm going to do a video on that later. We're just curious about this wander sign. I think I've seen it in other places and I'm wondering what it means.
You wonder what it means?
Yeah. What's this? Another social gathering on the Canning Stock Route, the loneliest four-wheel drive track in the world. Where are you from?
Melbourne.
Obviously you came across and came up from Wiluna.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. How's it going?
Yeah, really well. Great.
No problems?
None at all.
Ah, that's just what we like to hear. Erica's going to give us a bit of a rundown on this one. So have a look there. Where's the stick for them to climb out?
Yeah, well, this soak wasn't much good. You know, Canning actually surveyed it during his expedition, but he actually found that it wasn't very good because it only produced 120 gallons per hour, which really wasn't sufficient to actually feed the cattle. So when he actually routed all of the wells, this one was left out because it was just inadequate to suffice.
But more than sufficient for the Indigenous people
Oh,
who would not have
absolutely.
been in large groups. The corrugations took their toll on the old 80s series, so Graham had to make a few roadside repairs. A little bit of strengthening was required on the inner skin near the double battery setup. New, which is well 35. There's the pan. What's the story about this one, Erica?
Well, basically it was a well that it actually had a storage capacity of 1,350 gallons, but they could actually retrieve 1,500 gallons an hour, so obviously very good refilling.
Okay.
Now, in 1929, this was the last well that Snell came along on his reconditioning expedition. It's the last well that he reconditioned before he went back to Meekatharra for supplies, and he never ever reconditioned any more wells. It was Canning that actually took over and reconditioned the rest of them. Okay. And it was burnt out in 1969, and there was a group from Adelaide that came through in about 1985, and well, they did as much as they could, but obviously...
Well, it may have been repaired, Erica, but, you know, these things need constant upkeep, don't they?
They certainly do, and I mean, the animals and camels and everything else coming through, it doesn't take long for it to go into a state of disrepair.
No, and full marks to them for giving it a go.
Absolutely.
This country takes its toll on the vehicles and the people, so every hour we'd stop, let the shockies cool down, do a Spinifex check. Jeremy always pulled out a lump of Spinifex, bless him. You needed to walk around your vehicle, just do a visual check. The other thing was adjusting your tyres. Over the first few days we did spend a bit of time adjusting tyres until we got it right. And once we got it right, we sailed over those sand dunes. It was so easy. But that, whew, we travelled over some shocking corrugations that really taxed us and our vehicles. But we remained stoic. In fact, Leslie loved it.
No, it's all good, Rona.
We creamed it.
Good fun.
We're here at well 34, which Niapilli, and we're hoping this makes a good campsite tonight.
Yeah, basically you've got a well capacity of about 1,750, but only a retrieval rate of 900 gallons. Now, Snell came along here and reconditioned the well in 1929, but Canning came along in 1930 and I think implied that Snell did a pretty crap job because he had to go through it and clean it all out again and everything. But there's a bit of a murder mystery here as well.
Another murder. This stock route was a war zone.
There was a skull found in here about 1930-31 and yeah, they were a bit concerned. They thought it might have actually been a white fella. So there's investigations done, taxidermist and everything, having a look down in Perth. But they found out that it was actually a 16-year-old half-caste Aboriginal girl that had somehow got killed. So the investigation ceased as soon as they found out that it was an Aboriginal girl.
We can only wonder what happened to that poor girl.
They're up the hill, up there, round the corner. But I decided on a bit of privacy with my favourite girl.
That's the end of day 5 on the Getaway Canning stock route. Thank you for joining me. I hope you'll join me for the next 11 days. Whew! If you like this video, please click on the thumbs up sign below. Share it with your friends. If you've got any comments or queries, put them in the comments box below. And if you'd like to keep up to date with the channel, click on this subscribe button. Cost you nothing. Okay, that's it for now. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.